games, Coach. It's kind of unique when you start a season, you play games, and you got a week between. How you handle that?
Yeah, it certainly has been something that it provides a different challenge for us. And so what we've done is we came back right on Friday and practiced again so that we get used to what that feels like, and we've got to get ready for back-to-back games in Cancun. And so we've had a couple of days to practice, sprinkled in a day off on Monday, which is a nice day, I think, for our young ladies to have off because they can focus on classes, and sometimes it's good to have a day that they can do that and get whatever else done from an appointment standpoint that they want to get done. And then it's now obviously time to prep for both Winthrop, and then we've got a quick turnaround with App State. So kind of interesting, and then we go right to Cancun. So we've worked on a couple things for us and certainly add to the arsenal a little bit.
Have you ever played a 10 a.m. game?
Technically, no, but I think it was at Boston University. I was in Boston. It was at Northeastern. When we were at South Dakota, we played, I think it was an 11 o'clock game. But for our kids, it was 10 o'clock in the morning because it was Central Time, time change. So it'll be interesting for us. I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be really fun. And being in those games in the past, we better make sure that we have hand signals because it's hard to hear, from our player standpoint. But it's also it's a lot of fun for them to be a part of that too. And maybe we end up recruiting some young fans. Maybe they follow along and they start coming to some more games. And that's a hope that we have. What do we do that morning? We'll get up that morning and we'll do some activation, kind of make sure that our central nervous system is awake and we're moving and we're ready to go. We'll watch a little bit of film, we'll walk through a few things, and then we'll come back and get some shots up before the game.
I understand they're expecting more than 5,000 kids, so it's going to be a pretty good atmosphere in the morning.
Fun. Yeah, it will. It's interesting because sometimes it's challenging to have an elementary school day at the University of South Dakota. That was really difficult for us to do because there weren't that many schools right in our community to do that with, and so that could have hurt our fan base for that. It'll be interesting to see how it affects our other fans, and for that, if it's hard, it's only one day of work, and you can go to work in the afternoon maybe, so I think we can hopefully still find a way to bring some of our fans.
I imagine they're going to bus them from all over the state. It's not just local.
They do. Yep, and that's why it's so early, is so that kids can get back to school before the day is done and be dismissed and get back on their buses back home.
But you kind of touched on that, though. There could be possibly a Mountaineer player in that crowd watching you guys play. So there's an opportunity for you and your players.
It is, absolutely. It's an opportunity not only with young girls, but even with boys that have an opportunity to be here, to love basketball, to be in that atmosphere, and to have kind of a special outing, I guess, with their class.
Now, Coach, with it being that early in the morning, do you have any concerns about energy or anything that you will do different that morning to make sure that the players are up and awake for such an early tip?
Well, they better be ready. Are you guys going to be ready? I really believe that it'll be different. No question. But at the same time, certainly our players want to play well, and I think that is something that they will do a good job getting their bodies ready for that. And what does that look like? Well, they're going to have to get some good rest. They're going to have to get to bed early because they're going to have to get up early. And so it'll provide a level of toughness for us, and that'll be good for us.
I know you're continuing your tour of the Big South Conference, and Samika was a coach here for Mike. So, what do you see from Winthrop when you study them?
Well, and Samika and I have known each other for a few years, so certainly.
Same time, right?
Pardon me?
Played around the same time?
She's a little younger than she's a few years younger than I am. But thank you, appreciate that. That was very nice of you. Winthrop is a team that plays in attack mode. They come at you, and they attack the rim at a very high level, and dribble penetration. They pass inside of the post kids. They run some shuffle screens to get it there, some ball screens to get the ball around the rim. And they got some kids that, certainly on the perimeter, they can space and they can shoot it too. So offensively, they're very much an attack mode type of team. On the defensive end, they're going to throw a couple different zones at us, and I think that's something that we got to see a little bit of zone defense, but it was only baseline out of bounds really against Upstate. So, certainly something that will be good for us because we know we're going to see that throughout the course of the season too.
Separate from what the scoreboard said Thursday night, your thoughts on how the team played in the opener regardless of what the score was?
Right, good question. So obviously the team. I thought our team did a really good job of playing with a lot of energy. I thought our fans did a great job of creating that, but at the same time, your players have to create that too. And I thought they did a really good job of that. How do they do that? I think we got some really good ball pressure. So what do we learn from that? We can pressure the ball, but now we got to do it without fouling. Now in the half court, after we went back and watched it, we can still do a better job of having active hands. We can do a better job of rotating into help positions quicker. We can box out and finish a little bit better than we did. On the offensive end, I think I thought we got better as the game. So this is the second opportunity we played at home. We kind of saw that in the second half. We made some adjustments, slowed down a little bit, got some better shots. So we did that again. Now we have to find a way to do that a little bit earlier in the contest if we're able to do that. So certainly what we did is look at it. We do a self-scout on how we need to get better depending on regardless of what the outcome of the game is.
Shooting, won by a wide margin, but didn't, your shooting percentage was probably not where you wanted. How do you approach that with your players? You just shoot through it? What do you do?
Well, I think the first thing is we've got to attack the rim to the best of our ability. And I think that we took really good open arc shots early in that game. They didn't really fall for us. But then you get to the mode where you attack the rim, because if you're able to get those shots and knock them in and get rolling, that's really good. If you're not consistently, then let's attack the rim first and give ourselves a chance around the rim first and foremost. And I thought that's what we did in the second half, actually, of both contests. And then, there's those kids like Sarah Bates that hit them in transition after you start getting into a rhythm. And I think that's important. We've got to find what that rhythm looks like for us.
We used to play, you would go out and you would shoot, you'd start close to the basket and work your way out. It seems like the players today want to go straight to the three-point line. So is that kind of your way of get close to the basket, get some confidence, then work your way out?
Ideally, but at the same time, we have a lot of young ladies who can really knock in shots. So we want them to be aggressive. We want them to hunt early shots. If they're falling, that's incredible. That's great. I do think if we can get stops, and that's our goal, get stops, get in transition, that can really give you a lot of that rhythm too.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.